The day that I gained mobility in my hands was the day I used art to express myself. From finger painting to crayon drawings, there was never a thought of who I was. I just created. When I entered elementary, I gravitated to drawing my favorite cartoon characters, and during this time was when my ego took over my art. I no longer created just because. Instead, I created for approval. I loved hearing my parents and elders tell me how gifted I was and to never stop. So I worked harder, and I perfected my drawings until I felt I needed a bigger challenge. I put my skills to the test and moved to still life and portraits of family members. The external praise I got was intoxicating, and I must admit, realism came easy to me. I picked up on the techniques quickly and constantly scrolled online for videos to perfect my craft. In high school, my ego grew even larger as I constantly compared my art to other artists' art. I would see other abstract and stylized work get more recognition and praise than my perfect recreations. I didn't understand how that could be. How could you even measure the success or skill of an abstract painting? And as I entered adulthood, my focus shifted into having my own art style. I would research for hours on end how to develop my own personal style, only to hate my final results. Eventually, I told myself, I don't have to have an art style, and I focused on creating art I knew others would like. I started my art business creating art that I believe would be marketable and trendy. I slapped my art on phone cases, and for a while, my art was selling. But then I hit an internal plateau, and I felt something was missing in my art. I started to gain inspiration through the very art I never understood: abstract. I fell in love with colors and lines. I fell in love with my inner child, so I went on a journey to create abstractly. I thought, how hard could it be? So I picked up the largest canvas I could afford and began painting. Every stroke I questioned, will this mess up my painting or make it look amazing? How will I know when it's done? What if I don't like it? And I didn't. I hated the colors, the paint strokes, and the overall theme of the painting. I felt I wasted such a nice canvas for something I would never hang or sell. I wouldn't even give it away for free. That's how bad it was to me. But I continued down this rabbit hole of abstraction and made crap drawing after crap drawing until one day, I didn't. I finally created something that was original. Of course, there were bits and pieces of inspiration from other artists, musicians, and my lived experience. But what art isn't? I felt so accomplished. I dived even deeper into this style and created other similar pieces, playing with different colors, shapes, and materials. I felt connected with my child self that created just because. I didn't need praise. I did not question if it was good or not. My mind was free of that concept. The more I got into this style of art, the more free I wanted to be. I began doing rough sketches in my sketchbook of whatever my hand wanted to create with no judgment, no thought. And the more I transmuted the critical thoughts in my head, the more I fell in love with the process. And then it hit me. Abstract art is hard. But it's not hard for the same reasons realism is. See, realism is hard because you have an end goal. You know what the finished piece should look like. And you have to train your eye to see beyond just the subject, but every small detail, contrast, line, and color. Critics can easily judge your art because they know what it's lacking to be more realistic. But abstract art has no boundaries. You have no guide to let you know if you're headed in the right direction. You are more vulnerable to showcase your work because people will literally either love it or hate it. Abstract art has no mind. It is mindless. It is formless. To create abstract art, you have to learn to get out of your head and turn off those critical thoughts and bring out that inner child that created for the pleasure and lived in a moment while creating. And to turn off your mind and just create is the hardest thing an artist can do.